On August 2nd, 2026, the last train left the station. Kumba ran for 33 years. For a generation of Floridians, that teal track was Busch Gardens. People drove hours for one final ride. Grown adults cried in the parking lot, and every one of them was standing inside an advertisement, not a metaphor. A literal ad, one of the most successful advertisements ever built. Because Busch Gardens was never supposed to be a theme park. It wasn't supposed to make money at all. It was built to sell you one thing: beer. March 31st, 1959. Tampa, Florida, a beer company throws open the gates on 15 acres of gardens next to its brand new brewery. Flamingos, macaws, a lagoon, a gleaming glass building called the Hospitality House. The price of admission? Nothing. That's not a promotion. That's the entire business model. You walk in free, you tour the brewery, and then you ride an escalator called the Stairway to the Stars, up to an observation deck on the roof where the view is the Anheuser-Busch bottling line running beneath your feet. And then the samples. Free beer, poured by a dozen full-time bartenders in a glass-enclosed room with stereo music piped through the gardens. In 1959, this was about as modern as Florida got. The Hospitality House became a star of the postcard racks. Thousands of cards mailed all over America. Wish you were here. But look at what the postcard is actually showing you. Not a park, a showroom. So the obvious question, why would one of the biggest companies in America give Florida free beer and free flamingos? To answer that, you need to know what this land looked like the year before. In the late 50s, this was the edge of Tampa, part of it a former airfield, with the brand new University of South Florida rising next door. Anheuser-Busch chose the site for a brewery to supply the booming Southeast, after Florida cities competed to land it. But August Busch Jr., Gussie, didn't just build factories. He built theater. The Clydesdales? Marketing. The Gardens? Marketing. Gussie understood something most companies didn't. Nobody loves a factory, but everybody loves a place. Make the brewery a destination, and every family that visits goes home a customer. Every postcard they mail is an ad someone else pays the postage on. And it worked, better than anyone planned. Within about a year, the company was pouring another $500,000 into expanding the Hospitality House. The crowds kept coming. So in 1965, Busch made the move that changed everything. 29 acres of open land became the Serengeti Plain, an African savanna in Tampa, with the animals roaming free and the people riding above them. Remember the date, 1965. Walt Disney hadn't opened a single gate in Florida. For over a decade, if you wanted a world-class attraction in this state, it was the free one, the one that existed to sell Budweiser. But here's where the story bends. Somewhere along the way, the ads started making money. Admission fees came, rides came, and a marketing expense quietly inverted into something else, a profit center with a beer logo on it. By 1976, the free beer had a limit, 3 samples per adult. The showroom was becoming a business. The business was becoming a park. And a park needs what every Florida park eventually needs. A monster, 1993. Kumba opens, Florida's tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster, wrapped around the world's tallest vertical loop. 143 feet, 60 miles an hour, 7 inversions, and that roar, the hollow steel track you could hear across the park. Think about what Kumba represents. A beer company is now spending millions on Swiss-engineered roller coasters, competing head-to-head with Disney and Universal for tourist dollars. Nobody riding Kumba is thinking about Budweiser. The advertisement has become the product. And then the punchline. 2 years after Kumba opens, Anheuser-Busch announces it's closing the Tampa brewery, by then the smallest in its empire. On December 21st, 1995, the last workers clocked out. Read that again. The factory this entire place was built to advertise, gone. The tour, the bottling line, the observation deck view, gone. But the ad? The ad stayed open. The ad was now worth more than the factory, and here's the detail that says everything. The brewery was demolished, and on its footprint, the park built a roller coaster. Gwazi opened in 1999, people screaming through inversions on the exact ground where the beer used to flow. The park didn't just outlive its reason for existing, it paved over it and charged admission. For 13 more years, a beer company ran theme parks with no brewery attached, until 2008, when Anheuser-Busch itself, the great American beer empire, was taken over by the Belgian-Brazilian giant InBev. The new owners looked at the parks and saw what they'd always technically been, a marketing line item. In January 2009, the free beer samples ended. The parks were sold off to become their own company. After 50 years, the original deal, free beer for your attention, was formally dead. Except Florida never lets a good postcard die. In 2019, for the park's 60th birthday, Busch Gardens brought back free beer. It returned again in the summer of 2025. Same beer, same park, but the transaction had flipped. In 1959, free beer was the hook to sell you Budweiser. Now, free beer is the hook to sell you the memory of 1959. The park is advertising its own past. Nostalgia is the product. The old hospitality house building is still standing, by the way. It pours beer today as the Springs Tap Room. Most guests walk past it without knowing they're looking at the reason any of this exists. Which brings us back to August 2nd, 2026. When Kumba closed, the coverage called it the end of an era. It's at least the fourth ending. The free admission era ended when tickets came. The brewery era ended in 1995. The Anheuser-Busch era ended in 2009. And now the classic coaster era is ending too, cleared away for whatever comes next. That's not a tragedy. That's the design. This place has never been a fixed thing. It's a surface, repainted every generation to sell whatever Florida is selling that decade. Beer, safari, thrills, memory. So here's the thing about the postcard. 67 years ago, a family stood in a free garden, drank a free beer, and mailed a card home that said, "Wish you were here." That card was an advertisement, and the family just didn't know they'd become the distribution network. Kumba's teal track filled 1 million photos and posts. Different postcard, same job. Whatever rises where Kumba stood, people will love it, photograph it, and mourn it someday. And most of them will never know they're standing on a former airfield next to a vanished brewery inside the most successful beer ad ever built. That's Florida. The postcard is never the place. The postcard is the product.